Hey, Jody here with weldingtipsandtricks.com. Today we're MIG welding some 2-inch thin wall square tubing. Wall thickness is a little bit less than 60,000ths of an inch. So let's get into it.
First thing I'm going to do is roll my cylinder. This particular cylinder of C25 has been sitting a while, not being used, and you can argue all day long how gases can't separate unless they get down to sub-zero temperatures and all that. All I know is they weld funny if they've been sitting a while, and this seems to cure it. I'm going to be using 025 wire today, and the settings recommended are only about 17 volts and 240 inches a minute. I'm going to be going a little bit hotter than that today, and there's a lot of leeway there. And I'm also going to change this flow meter out before I get started. You know, notice how the needle just moves there. Every time I hit the trigger on the gun, it drops back down. While it's flowing, it's one thing, and while I pull the trigger, it's another. These are okay. I've just always preferred the ball style, so I'm going to put one of those on there. This is a Flame Tech I just added to my online store, and it's a very affordable flow meter. All right, let's get started here. I'm going to take a few dry runs as always, just to kind of get used to what I'm going to do, make sure nothing's going to hang me up, make sure I'm comfortable, and here we go. I have a couple of different 200 amp MIG machines. One of them is a Hobart, and it's a transformer style. This is a Lincoln, and it's an inverter style. And I really like the way both of them run with 025 wire. Super smooth arc, especially on something like pretty thin like this, or up to about 1/8 or 3/16 of an inch works pretty good too. You know, sometimes when you restart, you get that drive-by shooting stutter. If you attach your ground to a place where you've got all the mill scale cleaned off and snip your wire every time, it goes a long way into making a nice, crisp start. I really like the arc with this thing with 025 wire. Like I mentioned, I'm a little hotter than what I could be running, and if I had any gaps in the fit at all, I would definitely turn things down a little bit. I would try the recommended setting of 17 and 240. Let's go to downhill runs now. Now I'm going to direct my heat away from that edge. So I'm going to direct my heat on that rolled edge of the square tubing, and then just whip it over to the edge periodically, just to avoid blowing a hole. It's always a good idea to direct your heat to the thicker member, and in this case, that kind of is the thicker member. It takes heat a lot better than that edge. We'll do the same thing here. Same exact thing. And that's a wrap. All right, let's get a quick look at this thing after a quick buffing with a wire wheel. That's the overhead right there, and then that's the downhill run on one side tying into the overhead on the bottom. And after a close look at this thing, I'm kind of thinking the recommended settings would have worked a little bit better. You can see those little dimples in each crater where I stopped, a little bit recessed area, a little dot. Probably could have avoided that if I would went with a little bit lower settings. Well, I hope this helps. My online store is at weldmonger.com. That is how I support these videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.